Hello. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the webinar today. I'm really excited to speak with you all. The title of this session today is called Tick-Tock, Tick-Tock, Collecting TikTok Evidence Before It Disappears. And that's the exact topic that we're going to address. How can you perform a large-scale collection of TikTok content, the discovery, collection, and reporting that you need before the TikTok content that you're interested in capturing disappears? So my name is Jesse Ward. I'm the manager of the onboarding and implementations team for Page Freezer software. And in this position, I've been privileged over the last 3 years to work with all kinds of different teams who have the need to perform large-scale captures of social media and online content. Over the last 2 years, especially, captures of TikTok content have become increasingly prevalent. And yeah, it's been very exciting over the last couple of years to watch the evolving scene of TikTok investigations and play a role in that. Everyone from large federal regulatory teams, international law firms, and individual private investigators have a need to collect TikTok content. Law enforcement, there's a need to discover and capture what's going on that platform. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start off by actually putting TikTok investigations into context and looking at the uses of this platform for you in investigations, then get through a review of what's available on this platform for you to collect, and what are the best practices to perform TikTok investigations and collections, both at the small and very large scale. We'll have time at the end for any questions you have, so I'm excited to engage with you and hear about any potential challenges you might be experiencing with TikTok collections. So to start off and address what is TikTok, well, TikTok is one of the most incredible stories of technology in this century, because today it's the fastest growing social media application with users in more than 150 countries. And it actually started off in 2016 as a karaoke app, primarily aimed at youth. TikTok started off as a product of an American company called Musical.ly in 2016, and it was a karaoke sing-along app, and it was extremely popular for being a platform where people could record themselves singing songs and sending their videos to other people, and it grew an immense user base just based on that. It had more than 100 million users when it was purchased by the Chinese company ByteDance in April 2018. At that point, all of the Musical.ly users were moved over to TikTok, and the platform broadened its scope, moving on from just being a karaoke and sing-along app to being an app where people would publish short-form videos that were mostly based for entertainment. When TikTok launched, the maximum length for any video that you could publish was 15 seconds, and it was a short-form video app. It still has that reputation today as mostly being content that you can digest in very small bits, but it's grown immensely since it launched in 2018. There's now a maximum length for the videos that you publish of up to 10 minutes, so there is a lot of long-form content there. Things like video essays and long-form footage of whatever people are witnessing that they want to film and upload are prevalent. And you can publish more than just videos. You can also publish photos and audio clips as posts. So there's a lot of content there to discover. Increasingly, people are using TikTok for things like an actual news source and for recording just everyday things they see on the street in long form. So it's sort of a misconception at this point to look at TikTok as primarily a short form video app. You can encounter all kinds of content there. TikTok is something that you increasingly can't ignore when you're looking for information on almost any topic because of how popular it is actually. It's been downloaded more than 3.5 billion times. It's consistently one of the most popular apps in the Android and iOS store. There are more than 150 million active users of TikTok in the United States alone. And internationally, there are 1.4 billion people who pick up their phone and look at TikTok at least once a month. That's up from 500 million people at the start of 2020. And by the end of the year, it's looking like there will be at least 2 billion people internationally who are regularly using TikTok. So another reputation about TikTok that is good to sort of reconsider is that it's an app that's primarily aimed at and used by youth. While internationally, the biggest demographic for TikTok use is people between ages 15 and 34, um, the demographic shift actually is just trending towards all ages using TikTok more and more. In the first quarter of 2021, 36% of users of TikTok were actually between the ages of 35 and 54. And increasingly, the demographic for TikTok is older and older. So you kind of want to assume that regardless of someone's age or where they live, they very well may be a TikTok user. And another thing to consider here is that the platform is extremely engaging. There are more than 167 million videos that are watched on TikTok every minute. And one of the reasons that so many videos are viewed by users is that it's just based on the way the app works. TikTok is available on mobile devices and your desktop, whichever way you're watching it. When you open up TikTok, when you open up the application or go to the website, it brings you to what's called your For You page, and you're immediately served a video that the algorithm behind the app thinks that you'll find very interesting based on factors like your location, demographic information that it may have on you, and other factors like the popularity of the video that it's serving to you. The video will probably be short, and as soon as it's over, another video is immediately playing. So if you're a casual TikTok viewer, it's very easy to just open the application, start watching a video, it's over, another one plays, and it's entertaining. It's like watching television where there's just something playing after something else, but it's rapid clips after one after another. As a result, lots of videos on TikTok gain a huge audience. And it also is a platform that enjoys the most engagement out of any social media platform. People like videos, comment on videos, and share videos more often from TikTok than any other social media platform. And the biggest reason for that is that the platform actually provides a pretty genius incentive for users to publish content that you don't see on other platforms. When you publish a video on TikTok for the very first time, if you create a new account today and you have 0 users, and you just publish a video of literally anything. You could take a video of the floor in your house and you publish that video. If you just watch what happens, you'll see that it instantly has 200 or 300 views. And that's real, because the way that it works is the platform wants to provide you with an incentive to keep publishing content to get that addictive feeling of enjoying seeing your numbers go up for engagement. When you publish a video, no matter what it is, it's fed into that live stream almost like feed of just constant video after video of someone else. So there's a huge incentive for you to publish content that the other platforms don't offer. If you did the same thing on Instagram, you just create an account, you post a video, you would see that it would probably have no views at all, because the only way anyone organically discovers that is by stumbling across it somehow or searching for a keyword or something and ending up at your video. This means that if you witness something that you actually want to gain an audience, TikTok is a good platform to choose. For example, if you witness something like an altercation happening between 2 people on the street outside, TikTok would immediately get an audience for that. And if people think that it's an interesting video to watch, they'll watch it. It'll amplify the network effect of your video and suggest it into the feeds of more people. And it's very easy for content to go viral if it's the kind of thing that people commit to watching. As a result of all of this, the average user spends 89 minutes per day on the app. So when we think about the value of TikTok in the context of online investigations, we've just covered about the topic of how valuable it is based on the number of users, the growing trend of more people using it, and the amount of content and engagement that happens there. When you want to perform an investigation on social media, the platforms that will be most valuable will be the platforms where people are and where they're publishing the most content. And TikTok just continues to trend in that direction constantly. It's also it's a platform that's very open for investigators, meaning you don't actually need to create an account to start browsing and interacting with content on TikTok for discovery. You don't even need to create an account or log in to view content. The only content that you're not able to see when you are just opening it in a new browser session or a fresh install of the app on your phone is any content that someone has made available to their friends only. And we'll start to cover what content is actually available and what you can do in that situation in upcoming slides. But it's a very open app, and there's a ton of content. So you can use it to collect information about specific users. That means specific people or specific organizations. You can use Tick-Tock to investigate crime, gather incriminating evidence, because people publish a lot of evidence about everything that they do on Tick-Tock. It's a very common app for people to use in their daily life for filming everyday activities, meaning that it's easy to establish timelines of people's behavior or who they associate with, and facts like that that can help you build up evidence for civil and criminal cases. It's also very useful for understanding the political, economic, and social interests of a region and predicting future events based on trends that you can record. One example of how valuable it is regarding the war in Ukraine. In early 2022, there was already a lot of evidence that there was activity around the border of Russia and Ukraine that was being published to Tick-Tock. There was a really interesting article in the New Yorker earlier this year that was called The War in Ukraine, the first Tick-Tock war, as a result of how prevalent these kinds of videos were when this outbreak happened. And as a result, it's a platform that continues to be studied more and more in the world of open source intelligence gathering. To this day, it's a platform that is monitored extremely closely for things like tracking troop movements. So you can think of how it's valuable at this scale and how it's valuable at any scale. So we've covered, the demographic of Tick-Tock, the popularity of the platform, and how you can use the content that you would gather from the platform. It's valuable at this point to actually look at, the practical activities we can carry out day to day to discover, capture, and report on the content that is available on this platform. So let's start off by talking about finding a Tick-Tock user. If you have a user or an organization, a person in mind that you want to find on Tick-Tock, what's the best way to do that? So I've opened up Tick-Tock here, and like I mentioned, this is my For You page. This is a fresh account that I've created on Tick-Tock, and it's showing me a video that's a clip of The Simpsons along with a video of a mobile game. This is a popular type of content, just extremely addictive or meant to be entertaining and just make you keep watching forever. So let's say that I want to find a user. There's a search bar obviously here at the top that I can type anything I want into. For a search, I can look for a keyword, I can type in a hashtag, or I can look for a person's or organization's name. So if I'm interested in something like looking for Ryan Reynolds, the actor, and I type in Ryan Reynolds here, it's recommending me one account by default, and also videos that are going to be looking for this string both in the keywords of the video as a hashtag in a condensed form here, and based on certain trends. Even if your keyword isn't actually represented in the video, based on the keyword, the actual list of like the string in the description here, and it's not found in the hashtag. If there's a video that a lot of people watched and spent time watching because of your search, then it can be served here. So if I want to look for this actual user, if I want to find Ryan Reynolds' account and I search accounts here, he's right here at the top. The reason that he'd be recommended at the top is that this is the platform with the most popularity that has that name. And it's also a direct string match for his alias here. If I click on this account, then I actually get to see this Tick-Tock profile. And it's valuable here to look at the username and the alias. These are important things to consider when you're looking up a user on Tick-Tock because they're different. The username here, Van City Reynolds, this is something you can only change up to a maximum of once every 10 days. So usernames are more likely to stay consistent over a long time. the alias here is something that someone can change at any point. So it's worth keeping in mind that when you get a hold of an account that you're interested in, you want to consider both what is the name and the alias, because you'll want to start searching for both of those things to find out more content that they've published. We're taking a look at this profile, and there's some interesting information available. I can see a count of who he is following and followers and what the likes are. How many likes his video has is what this number represents. I'm on the desktop version of Tick-Tock right now, not the mobile application, of course. And this is actually really interesting. The following and followers for an account here, they are static in my browser. But if you open up an actual mobile application of Tick-Tock and you look at the same profile, you would be able to see the following and followers. So that's actually really valuable information. If I wanted to find out the 13 people who Ryan Reynolds is following, I would need to open up my phone, open up the application, and check it out from there. But that could be very valuable information because it starts to point me towards his social network. You can, of course, use an emulator for Android or iPhone to look that content up as well. So that's worth considering in terms of what's the basic metadata that's available about a user outside of the actual content that they've published. Now, you might be interested in more than just seeing what someone has published. You want to see where they've been referenced by people in other videos. And you want to know more generally where across the platform has this person been referenced. One thing you can do there is use Google, actually. So it's really valuable to understand that all of the advanced search options in Google can help you actually search across all of the text that's been indexed across Tick-Tock. Tick-Tock is a platform that is indexed by Google. So if I put in an advanced search here for a site of ticktock.com, so I only want results from ticktock.com, that would always be the first thing to do. Then I can have the combinations of the strings of text that I want to look for. I've got both the alias here and the username, and I'm saying, show me all results that mention this, either the username or the alias, across the entire platform. And if I scroll through here, then I see it starts off with the most popular videos that he himself has published. But especially for smaller accounts, this is valuable because if you find a user who isn't a prolific poster of videos, they might still be tagged in a lot of their friends' videos. That's not the kind of thing that you can organically discover through Tick-Tock and navigating through the website itself. But since the entire platform is indexed by Google, you have a pretty good chance, if that person has been mentioned in the comments of another video or the description of another video, someone publishes a video and they say, hey, look at my friend Ryan Reynolds doing this, and they tag that username, then Google will help you find that better than the actual Tick-Tock search will. Google, it's worth also actually, searching for mentions through a Tick-Tock search as well. But the Tick-Tock search is a little more biased towards videos that are newer and more popular, where Google is a little more averaged out in terms of the results you get. So try both when you're performing an investigation, especially for a smaller account, and you're likely to find content either through a Google Advanced search or a Tick-Tock search. Especially if you're going to search through descriptions and comments, Google is more valuable than the actual native Tick-Tock search itself, especially because you can use all of the different kinds of advanced search filters available in Google to look for very specific strings you might be interested in. So I found this account, and I know that I can search for mentions of it across Tick-Tock to help me further with my investigation. One more interesting thing to do here is to run it through the Wayback Machine. If I take this URL and I enter this at archive.org for the Wayback Machine, this is a search engine that has indexed the internet for more than 2.5 decades. And for Tick-Tock, there is a lot of content. I can see that the Wayback Machine has been archiving content that has been published by this Tick-Tock account for at least since mid-2021. And that enables me to look back at older snapshots to see how this profile has changed. if this person has changed their profile name, or if they've changed their description, or they have thumbnails for videos, that can be really valuable. You might have to keep digging, because sometimes you'll see pages like this where all the way back machine ran into was a CAPTCHA. But if you click on the actual list of captures here, you can look at the URLs, and it'll show you all of the URLs that fall under this path. So a lot of the time you will find content that you are actually able to see that might be interesting to you, and it will help you understand historically the activity of this account, what they've published, how they've described themselves, and that's all stuff that you might want to collect. One more valuable thing you can do with TikTok is when you have a username like Van City Reynolds here, you can use a platform like checkusernames.com. There's similar other websites, but this is a website that is pretty reliable, I find, for helping you understand someone's entire social presence based on a single username. If I search for Van City Reynolds on this website, it submits a query across dozens of other websites, and it shows me, for example, that this username is registered already on YouTube. It says not available. It's also registered on LinkedIn. That means if I actually go to the platform, it may have been, created and then disabled, but I can see what's there. If I look at something like Reddit, it shows me the user page for Van City Reynolds, and that can be another branch in my investigation to see if this account possibly actually belongs to the same person. Probably not in this case, but you can imagine how scaled out to an investigation of a user or a person or an organization. Platforms like this are convenient for helping you immediately find links to some of the most popular websites where you may find an account registered to that user. Additionally, you want to think about every opportunity you can use to use the metadata available from a profile for expanding your investigation. And that means there are services that are things like facial recognition searches that you could perform that help you expand your investigation off of a TikTok profile. If I simply, take a screenshot of Ryan Reynolds' face here, and I want to run this through a platform like pimeyes.com that can enable me to, actually, I need to just go take that screenshot again. It's a platform that's designed to actually, it's not like a reverse image search platform. Those can be very useful, but it's actually a platform that searches for this person's facial pattern across the entire internet by using AI basically to look for this person's face. Of course, for a celebrity, this will turn up tons of content, but it works for all individuals in terms of scouring the internet to very obscure places to look for other instances of their appearance. So TikTok, people publish themselves there. They publish their associates. You can find a lot of information that can help you in terms of actual visual recognition for searches. So we've gone over the metadata that you can collect from a TikTok account that can be particularly valuable and some of the best practices for searching for that. But we haven't looked at the videos yet. And obviously, this is one of the most valuable things you can find on TikTok. It's the content that users are actually publishing. If I click on a video here and it pops up, I see that there is a description. I can see some metadata on the engagement. The video plays here on the left, and there are going to be descriptions. There's going to be comments and replies to comments. So there's a huge network of threads. And obviously, there's a ton of information here that I would want to collect. If this was a profile that was going to be taken down soon, and I wanted to have evidence of everything that has happened on it so that I could find out if it's useful for my investigation before it gets taken down, I want to act as fast as I can, not to really spend my time manually clicking through and reading things, but I want to actually make sure I actually save a copy of everything that I can. So what I want to look at next is some of the best practices for actually saving content from TikTok at scale and then reporting on it. I'm going to switch over to another page on TikTok here where I'm looking at a video here of a parrot. It's a nice video. Let's say that I want to save a copy because it's relevant to an investigation that I'm working on. For a lot of videos that you will encounter on TikTok, if you want to save them, it's as easy as right-clicking on the video, choosing download video, and it's saved almost instantly. And I mean, you can easily just go back to your downloads directory on your computer and check it from there. So it's that straightforward in most cases to go save a video from TikTok, but that only gets you one video at a time. And profiles will often have hundreds of videos that you'd want to collect. Additionally, not every video is that easy to collect. If I'm looking at this video by National Geographic, I can see here that if I right-click on this video, that option to save a video directly is not actually present. Only certain types of video uploads on TikTok are something that you can actually natively right-click and download. And in the case of this video, I have to do something else. Since that option to perform a right-click download wasn't present, what I have to do is right-click on this page and click Inspect. If I open up the Network tab that appears here in my browser, and I click play here, I actually have to perform a refresh of this page with this Network tab open. And this is a list of all the files that are being served to me when I load the page. If I look under the Media tab here, it's going to show me the video. So I can right-click, open a new tab, and now it's playing the video directly. I can save this video if I want to. So, you know, that took about 15 seconds, and it's a routine that you have to memorize. So it's not something that you can do at scale, and it's not very much fun either. All of this brings up the question: what can you do to actually perform a large-scale automation of collection of TikTok? And that's what I want to cover next. So when you're encountered something like an entire TikTok timeline and you want to collect it all, really the best thing that you can do is to use a tool that is tailor-made for that situation. TikTok is a pretty closed platform in terms of an API. For different social media platforms, there are some API-based tools that are, you know, something you either run from your computer terminal, or it might be a product that you actually installed your browser, like a Chrome plugin, or an application that uses an actual API connection to a platform to like have a formal connection and say, you know, give me the URL to every video on this page, or give me the description of every video on this page, and submit that and get that. But nothing exists like that for TikTok because it's a very closed platform. It's not very friendly for developers to make products that interact with TikTok to help you capture it. However, there are tools that are available for performing large-scale automations of social media evidence. So that's what I want to show now. Let's say I'm on a profile like this one for National Geographic, and I'm interested in collecting every video that they've ever published. The tool that I want to show you now is one that's produced by Page Freezer software. It's called Web Preserver, and it's a Chrome plugin that exists in my browser. Opening it up is as easy as clicking on this icon that shows me the Web Preserver menu. And it's software that is tailor-made for situations like social media collection. It works for other platforms like Facebook and Instagram as well. But for TikTok, it solves the problem of performing the automated collection of evidence. So if I'm looking at this TikTok video right now, we know what I had to go through to save that video manually, but Web Preserver can help me with that as well. It's software that is designed to automate all of the steps I would normally have to go through myself to collect all of the metadata available about this page. So from this menu, it's as easy as just clicking Save here to initiate a capture process. And what this is basically software that automates behavior in your browser. And it's trained with routines for social media websites like TikTok to perform collections in a way that is automated. And all it does is put your browser on autopilot, basically, in a way that lets you save content, both in a visual representation as a kind of PDF, for example, but also at the source code level, and to capture videos as well, so that you have a full forensic capture that's also signed with a SHA-256 hash so that it's compliant with digital rules of evidence. That means all you have to do is click some buttons here in the application to perform a capture of content in a way that becomes usable in a forensic scenario and that you can actually use as evidence, but also for discovery. So I was able to just capture one page, and it's nice. If I just want the video, for example, I can click export, and I didn't have to go through any menus or anything annoying like that network menu to actually get the content I want. I just export it from Web Preserver, and I can see here that this video was just captured successfully. But while that saves me some time for a smaller capture, let's say that I'm actually interested in capturing this entire timeline because I fear that it might be taken down before I have the opportunity to review things natively within the platform. Also, let's say that I want to search across everything here. If I'm looking for one specific person who's been mentioned in the comments of some thread because I'm doing a network through an investigation of an entire network of people, for example, I don't want to spend my time manually clicking through, scrolling, and maybe having to expand replies. I'd want to just be able to search everything as one corpus of text. So Web Preserver will enable me to do this. If I want to actually capture the content from this entire timeline, I can just copy the URL here. And in my Web Preserver dashboard, I can interact with the content I've already captured or perform a large-scale capture of content. So from this menu that's called Bulk Capture, it's a menu that I can configure to perform large-scale captures of websites or social media. And I'm scrolling down here to this option that says Tick-Tock accounts. All I need to do here is paste in the URL for Nat Geo. This is the URL for that account. If I wanted, I could configure a date range so that I would only grab videos posted between 2 dates, but I'll be greedy here and just say collect the links. And what will happen is this page will basically open. And again, it's putting my browser into autopilot. So it's very friendly to the platforms that we're collecting from. And it's going to scroll through collecting URLs from the videos that have been published there. I'm going to cut this short, obviously here for the purposes of time, because there were a ton of videos on that account. But if I end this operation prematurely, it'll come back with the first 70 URLs that it found from this timeline. Immediately, this step of actually going through and scraping the links to these posts has been automated for me. And it only took a couple seconds there to get the first 70. If I start to look at these, I'll see that it's all in reverse chronological order. This was the most recent video posted on their timeline. And from there, it's going to be all the older posts. So the same process that we saw happening when I captured that one video, I'm just going to cut these down to 2 just for the purposes of time for this demonstration again, and click Capture All here. What's going to happen is, this is a process I can just leave running in the background, happening in my browser, and I'm not touching my mouse or keyboard. It's just going to perform the same steps we already saw of taking snapshots of this page so that it can be able to save everything that we see here. I'm going to be able to review all this later on in full context. You see there's activity happening there, like the expansion of comments automatically, and the video will be captured as well. So this is everything that you would be doing, but it happens automatically for you. It enables you to collect this kind of content at scale. Once this is done capturing, we're going to look at what options software like Web Preserver enables you to export this content in, because the next step, of course, once you have all of this collected, is review. We all know the problem of data is that it's great to have big data because that means you have a pool of resources to search through and report on. But how can you use it practically, both when you're serving content as evidence, which is very important, but also performing discovery on what you have collected so that you can find specifically the kinds of keywords or data that you're looking for. Back at the front page of my Web Preserver dashboard, I see there's a folder created here now, indicated by this plus icon. And this is showing me the pages that I captured. If I look at a preview here, clicking on this magnifying glass, I see the preview of the video. And if I scroll down, I see the comments. Where there was a reply to one of the comments, that got automatically expanded. And it looks like a pretty great capture of this page. So if I'm satisfied with my collection, I can simply export everything all at once. I'm going to select all of my pages for exporting, and I'm going to choose some options here for exports that we will review together in a moment. I'm going to make sure that I collect the videos, and from here on, we're going to see what the output actually looks like. So Web Preserver as a Chrome extension, it just lives directly in your browser and it doesn't interact with the cloud. It means that you have full chain of custody over your evidence that you're collecting, and everything goes back to my browser's default downloads directory. If I look at the zip files that I just exported and I open up one of them here, it's going to show me the different files I collected. Web Preserver, you want to look for software when you're looking for automated capture software that has a variety of options for PDF exports, for example. This type of export lets me see a collection report where I have metadata. I could hand this over to someone and they would be able to see in context the URL and collection date of the capture that I performed before they go on to see the hash that's actually specifically assigned to any videos I captured, and then a preview of the content in a PDF format. You can optimize this for things like print or digital optimized display, but simply having a PDF is a great way to just track the appearance of a page. Videos, as we previewed, are captured completely. And also, every page you capture with a tool like this is saved as an MHTML file. It's a single replayable web page. The video is not interactive, but it's a full text render of the page and images as well. In addition, the source code is captured. That means that if you find some page you're really interested in and you suddenly want to investigate further on a video like this, the actual email address, so the actual URL for any page that you start to hover over, things like hyperlinks, are captured successfully. So any information that is actually only available in the source code of a page or in the rendered elements of a page, like we see on the right here, is actually still available for this capture. So if later on it turns out that you want to follow one of these leads, it's all present there for you. Additionally, I can have a PDF that does not have that first collection report page. This is just a one page static copy. It's a facsimile of what was captured with no page breaks to just show you exactly what the browser saw. So captures like this are really the comprehensive way to go about making sure that you can collect everything from a Tick-Tock profile. If I go back to what I just downloaded and I make sure that I extract both of these videos, or both of these zip files rather, it means that I can start to actually perform some discovery at scale. Like I mentioned, if there's someone who I'm specifically looking for, I actually want to look at the other zip file here. If there's someone that I'm specifically interested in looking for across the description or the comments of pages, then I can start to search my files that I've collected for that. So the account that I was using to capture this was called J Alcatraz. If I have this collection of MHTML files that are on my computer now, and I search for this keyword, I see that it's actually referenced in both because it's part of the source code of both. So you can actually perform a full search across the source code and find the files that are referenced, find the files that reference whatever specific string you're looking for. In addition, if you want, you actually can export searchable PDFs as well. And that will enable you, again, to search through the entire library of what was captured. So basically, as the web continues to lock up more and more APIs for social media, like what we've seen happen with Twitter and X recently, tools like this that are developed by engineering teams that are dedicated towards, performing the kinds of automations for collections that you would want to do are becoming increasingly popular. And it's the solution that basically is the most reliable at this point in development of social media for like a complete automated forensic collection of content from a platform like Tick-Tock. It's a solution that I've been able to help a lot of teams use by making sure that they're able to capture the complete list of URLs, capture every file, and be kind of indiscriminate about it, because it's going to be that needle in the haystack out of all of the content that was collected that ends up being very valuable. And if you already have it collected as a PDF, at the source code level with all resources collected. You can search through it all, and it's all actually signed with a hash to make it compliant as evidence. That means that you can use a tool like this that people consistently maintain to make sure that it's operating successfully on these platforms over the long term to guarantee successful large-scale capture operations. At this point, I'd be really happy to take on any questions that anyone has around any challenges that you have collecting evidence from Tick-Tock, performing Tick-Tock investigations. Yes, as you know, in Tick-Tock, we can change our username every 30 days. So how can we find a username history? Yes, that's a great point. Tick-Tock users are like a river. They're never the same. It's true. They're in terms of like a guaranteed unique user ID that keeps a user's identity consistent through Tick-Tock, you may have to look for context clues. For example, if you can search for usernames through Google and through the Wayback Machine to find posts that reference them, if you can find the account that's referenced anyone's current username, a really good tip is to look at posts that they have published in the past. Because if someone is, if someone's friends with Ryan Reynolds, and you can find evidence right now on Google that someone has published where they've referenced him, because you can find that through Google easily with his current username, Van City Reynolds. Often you can capture everything on that person's profile and start to review that for any possible references to that person when they had a different username. That's one helpful way. Also, something else you can do is you can look at someone's followers because they're the most likely people to reference that person. Other than that, using the Wayback Machine at least can help you get a good idea of when someone started using a username. Of course, the Wayback Machine is limited in it's not actually capturing every single account, and it's not capturing the accounts that it does capture every single day. But it can give you an idea of when someone started using the username to help you better judge the kind of cutoff point for their current identity. Those are a couple of tips, but you bring up a great point, and it's something you always want to consider. Just because you're not finding so much for someone's current username, it might be because they recently changed their username because they didn't want something older to be found. So using some of the context clues you can gather through capturing their friends' content and using Google and Wayback Machine can help you narrow in on that. Are there reports or exports of findings, and what format are they in? So with the web preserver tool that I previewed here, the exports that we just looked at, they were in PDF format as well as the single page MHTML format. The PDF is just a screenshot, and the MHTML form is the actual source code of the page that was saved at the time that the capture was performed. And then the elements that you can sort of scroll through and interact with in that MHTML page, they're the DOM, they're the actual elements that get rendered as a result of that source code. So it's useful for searching and interacting with the page kind of natively. We also actually, something we didn't preview yet is you can perform WARC captures of pages with Web Preserver. So when you export a page, it's packaged up as a single WARC file. That means a web archive. And there's a lot of open source tools as well as browser-based tools you can use to explore WARC files. That's like a single page file that contains all the resources. So when you perform a capture with Web Preserver, you can use that WARC file to unpack the list of every single script and image and things like font files that get served to you when you perform a capture, or whatever was served to you when you loaded your browser. Meaning if it ends up that there's one thumbnail image that ends up being the smoking gun in what you're looking for, you actually have a copy of that image as well. So those are the file formats we offer, in addition to the actual videos that are collected from a page. And those are the kinds of things you'd want to look for when you're looking for an automated solution, because being able to actually search through everything is quite important. Searching through the text saves you so much time. Files that save all of the resources are extremely valuable because it means once there's some video or there's some photo that matters the most, you have your own forensically sound copy of it. Those are the big things that you'd want to look out for reports and exports. Can you download videos without the user knowing who downloaded it? Yeah, absolutely. Again, one of the amazing things about TikTok is when I was just previewing it, I was logged in as my burner account, but I didn't need to be logged in. Um, if you just open TikTok in your browser, you can explore the platform and you're not going to be limited on the comments or replies to comments you can see. You're not limited on any content. So there's no flag to a user if you're browsing and interacting with their content that you viewed their profile if you are not logged in. If you are logged in, then by default, TikTok privacy settings are that someone actually can see that you visited their profile, because that's one of the ways they make it super engaging is you get excited when you see people visited your profile. So if it's a very sensitive investigation, it's a great idea to remain logged out because you don't need to be logged in. Can we capture data that contains some words only? That's a really interesting idea. For software like Web Preserver, it's more aimed at the way that it really works is by autopiloting whatever is possible within your browser, because that's actually what's possible since these platforms don't give us any other way to access information. That means that there's no way to filter in our software at the moment for only capturing posts that contain some keywords, but it wouldn't really be possible with the way these platforms work right now to sort of open every tab, search through everything, and then save it otherwise. So the way that we operate is by enabling easy, large-scale captures, and it's easy to just hold on to everything and search through that after the fact. And if a video has thousands of comments, does Web Preserver capture all of them? That's a great question as well. I mean, yeah, when we were looking at Ryan Reynolds' profile, I believe that some of them actually had thousands of comments of people maybe hoping he would be reading and interacting with them. And that's what you see on a lot of popular accounts. Yes, Web Preserver will automate captures to whatever is possible within your browser. So for software like this, it's whatever's possible within your browser. That means if your browser can load thousands of comments and interact with them, then you'd be able to automate that using software like Web Preserver. For really large scale captures, or if you actually need to capture thousands of comments from someone on a single post, there's some best practices like making sure that your machine has a lot of RAM and that if possible, you actually allocate more memory to your browser. You can use a virtual machine, for example, that has like a giant amount of RAM, more than your own personal machine, and perform captures with that. Usually people don't need to go to those lengths for captures of most content. And additionally, within software, within Web Preserver specifically, you are able to configure a maximum number of comments that you would capture if you wish to make sure that things proceed smoothly. So I can imagine that there could be some content that possibly no browser has been able to capture. In working with the teams that I've worked with, I've never encountered that yet, though. Do I know of any open source tools that have the same features that I see in Web Preserver? There are some tools that are like optimized for screen captures of certain social media platforms, but not really. The way that software like Web Preserver works is the infrastructure that we have behind that is like a team of engineers that is able to respond natively to changes within the platform and to build up these automation routines to continue adding and making optimizations to these routines. And to my awareness, there aren't any open source tools that offer a similar functionality, especially for services like actually signing a SHA-256 hash. When software like Web Preserver performs that, we're signing it with our own private key, and then our users have a convenient way to say, you don't actually need to go write down for an affidavit later what time of day and what browser you're using when you perform this capture. All of that metadata is actually directly embedded within the capture. Then it's signed with a SHA-256 hash that can be verified against PageFreezer's server using a service that we utilize. So our users are able to just click, collect, save, review, and then once something gets presented as evidence, there's a method for verifying that against our private key. So an open source team could develop software like this. There's nothing like it to my awareness, and there would be a lot of challenges with maintaining that at scale through an open source team, especially for a lot of the infrastructure and the services like a private key and a hash. Usually what we see is software that's just optimized for generic screen captures, which can be helpful for small cases. But then you have the added problem of verifying and providing an attestation for the capture, and it won't have any automation features that practically save the most time for things like video collection and expanding comments. Can TikTok Messenger chats be accessed and captured? If so, how long are these maintained for TikTok? Yes. So with private messages that are sent on TikTok, there's no time limit, and to my awareness, there's no limit for how many messages you can have. I definitely know some people in my life who are very prolific TikTok Messenger users, and I'm not aware of any limitations on how long content lasts. For software like Web Preserver or for any open source investigation of TikTok, you can capture messages. You need to have access to those messages, so you need to be one of the two parties that has that message thread in your access. If you do, Web Preserver does have automated features for basically scrolling through and saving all of the messages from a long thread. It does have like a built-in functionality for automating the expansion of all of the thread and compiling it into like a one-page PDF. So it's not it's like a clean output. So software like Web Preserver does offer that feature. And in general, yeah, TikTok content, it stays up there in Messenger. Yeah, metadata that's available in videos like latitude and longitude, or things like the camera that was used. So that kind of like EXIF metadata that gets stripped from videos that are uploaded to Web Preserver, and at the point that it's uploaded, when you download it, either using natively from your browser or using software like Web Preserver, the only metadata that's available in the video is the video type. But that's actually pretty interesting in itself. TikTok enables you to upload a bunch of different kinds of videos. You can upload like a GIF, you can upload an MP4, or a couple other types of videos. I don't want to just say it off the top of my head, but I'm aware that it's pretty unique across social platforms in that they don't actually translate every video you upload into the same format that's optimized for their system. If you upload an MP4 video, it stays there as an MP4, and you can, when you download it, it's an MP4. Same thing if it was a different type of video. So the only metadata you get for a TikTok video that you download is the format the file format you get, because if you can say that an iPhone upload would be an MP4 video, that's maybe a clue you have. But I think that's more of a clue than anything. It's not something you'd be able to prove through EXIF metadata. So you could build that case that it was uploaded in a certain way or from a certain device based on the file type. But of course, people can also change file types before they upload and things like that. So it's probably most useful as a clue for you to build a hunch that you can work off of, rather than something that you'd be able to prove. Does Web Preserver have the capability of capturing all of the video content in entirety for all posts, such as a bulk download, or does this need to be done individually? Yeah, so Web Preserver is able to perform a bulk, like a two-click operation to collect all videos. You just leave that running in the background as everything's captured, and then you can export all the videos at the same time later on as well. So there's no need to individually export any content. You can capture all the videos at once, export them all at once, and then there's even a CSV file index that you get with your export that shows you the connection between the PDFs, so the actual static representations of the pages you captured, and an index for the videos, so that you're able to use eDiscovery software, use your review software, and understand the connection between the page you captured, the URL, the timestamp, and the video. You can do everything in one operation. Will an official warrant or subpoena sent to TikTok give you any more information about a certain profile that web capture won't? That's a really good question. I can't answer what kind of information is available through a official warrant or subpoena from TikTok from any personal experience. But what I'm aware of is the challenge that law enforcement teams have to get the information that they need through a warrant or subpoena, and the procedural steps you have to take, both for yourself and your own organization, and then through the TikTok platform. I know that a reason that a lot of law enforcement use tools like Web Preserver is whatever is available to you at the very least in your browser, you go collect it right away before you have the time to get the result of a subpoena, because they might not be able to deliver on anything that was only ever published for a few minutes. So the primary value of Web Preserver, a tool like this, is you can capture everything at once, and then you've got it before it has the chance to be taken down. I have heard from certain cases of people not being able to get that information later through a subpoena or warrant, and then they go looking for a solution like this afterwards. What do you do about a private account? So if someone, there is some content that you're limited from seeing by default, even if you create an account on Tick-Tock. People can optionally set their profiles to be private, and so then you can't see anything they've published. And they can also hide the videos that they've liked. By default, you can see the videos that they've liked, and that's really worth checking out. If someone's likes for videos are locked from you to view, and that's private, there's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. To gain access, there's no way to just reach that within your browser. And for a private account, you have the option of adding someone as a friend and seeing if they accept it so that you could see those videos. If someone either is showing their videos, their likes to the public, or someone has a private account but they've added you as a friend, and then you can open up your browser and you're logged in and you can see this person's locked account. Software like Web Preserver wouldn't have any problems with capturing everything. And of course, you yourself can just navigate through the content and review it yourself. That would be absolutely fine. If a person does not give you permission to see their account, though, the metadata that you'd be limited to capturing would be their username, their alias, their profile image, and a little bit of metadata around their followers and following. From there, you'd maybe want to go through the Wayback Machine, see if it ever wasn't private, and see if there's anything you could collect from there. Does the software create an audit file of what the user has captured? And does Web Preserver see what the user has captured? Where are the audit files saved? So for our software, there's an internal, basically, what you'd want to look out for when you're looking for software that can help you with an automated capture like this is software that works locally on your own machine, because that means when you install Web Preserver, it's everything you capture and store, it's served within your own local cache, like within not your cache, but the application files associated with your browser. I was using Chrome today. You can use Edge or Brave or Chrome, and everything you capture, the metadata around it, the URLs you're capturing, and the actual files themselves, it all stays completely locally on your own machine. That's very important to make sure that you're able to reliably maintain access, that it's not manipulated by anyone else, and it means that it's easy to get approved by your internal security team. So there is an audit file in the software that shows you what you've captured, but that's only for your own reference to see, to have a log of what you've captured. And we don't see anything that any of our users are capturing. All files are saved directly locally on your own machine. Yeah, how do you find or capture content in a certain locale for geography? There's no such thing as a search across Tick-Tock based on location, as in show me only content from this region of the United States. But what you can do is search for hashtags that will help you build up like a library of what popular hashtags are being used in a certain region. And from there, start to view content associated through the networks that you discover based on hashtags and popular users. Additionally, if you create a fresh account with a VPN set to another country and you fill it out with demographic information that belongs to another place, then like if you're in North Carolina right now, it won't show you content from North Carolina. It'll show you content from Rio or wherever you set your VPN to. So browser plus VPN is a good way to sort of be immersed into the world as a different person using Tick-Tock. Yeah, I know there's going to be information available to attendees of the session about how they can learn more about Web Preserver, including like pricing and licenses. Thank you for asking. All right. Oh, and if a custodian of interest gave you their login credentials, would Web Preserver get direct messages? Yes, if you have access to a Tick-Tock account, then you would be able to perform a collection of all of the direct messages using Web Preserver in an automated way. You could you could get the links to those threads for the messages and collect them all if you have access to an account. All right, I think that brings us to our time. So thank you so much for everyone who attended today. Please, yeah, there's going to be information available on how you can get in touch with PageFreezer for any more questions you have around performing Tick-Tock collections. And thank you so much for all of your wonderful questions. I think that the volume of questions there, it's great to see, and it shows that this is like an ever-evolving field that will always change. So yeah, I really hope that I can hear from some of you later on around your specific needs, because yeah, we're happy to help. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.